founder of Pragmatic and Decent. We are digital agencies based down in Brighton. We offer consultancy, creative and technical services in web content and blockchain spaces respectively. And today I want to share with you my thoughts about the future and how WordPress is important in that mix, and why I think what we're doing with our business is particularly interesting. When I was young, I used to daydream about futuristic metropolises and space travel and magical superpowers and curing diseases. We're living in the future already. It's just, as the quote goes, unevenly distributed. In terms of space travel, landing space robots on an asteroid, that ticks my box. I'm pretty happy with that. Magical superpowers. I was reading my little girl, Little Miss Magic, in bed, and she walks down the stairs and she says, toast to the toaster and pour to the coffee machine and spread to the knife and open to the door, and these things happen. And we live in that world. We can say these things to Alexa, and at least some of the time they actually happen. And so you might recognize this still from the Microsoft video. It brought to mind this screenshot from one of my favourite movies when I was growing up. It shouldn't scare us at all, in no way whatsoever. And at least they don't have robots which are capable of using this technology. You know, Daleks can't get upstairs, we're all totally safe, what could possibly go wrong? Something that is hard to fight is the fear of kind of what's coming down the line. You know, it seems like everything's getting worse and more scary, and in some ways it is, but from an objective viewpoint actually things are getting a lot better. Whether you look at extreme poverty, child mortality, literacy, education and freedom. But these are real world graphs that show that for most of the people, most of the time, the world is getting better. And as every day passes, it's going to get more. And I was going to write a word, and then I thought, well, it's just more of everything, isn't it? It's more intense, it's more complex, it's more interesting, it's more fascinating, it's more scary, it's more fast, it's more. And so, you as an organisation, can you survive? Can you compete? This is an Amazon warehouse. You know, this is the killer of the high street. But they do more than shipping products. They're into almost any profitable business area they can find. Jeff Bezos lives 3 years in the future. How can we help you think about the future of your businesses, what's coming down the line with technology in the future? How can we, with WordPress, help you prepare? And you might gather from this talk, I spend a bit of time on Twitter, but this is a particularly nice tweet from Seth Godin, which is that we can't all bring the same resources to bear, but we can bring creativity. So there's lots of ways to sidestep, move around, be smart when you're faced with competition. When it comes to success in the future, I think one of the ways that we need to change our mindset as organisations is to think about what value transfer really is. We're all really used to paying for stuff with money. Over the last year or so particularly, I think the general public's woken up to the fact that they're the product with a lot of social media platforms. And indeed, attention is also a new economy, mindshare. And we see that playing out in everything from brand success through to the kind of information wars which are a part of real warfare. It's my vision for what the future of successful organisations is. Every organisation thinking like a media organisation, getting into that mindset of producing valuable content at an intense pace and getting that out to the people to whom it adds value at the right time, in the right channel, with the right tone. Red Bull's kind of the poster child for this. They used to sell sugary caffeine drinks that go allegedly really well with vodka. Now they sell the dream of standing on the edge of space and parachuting. They've changed their brand from consumer product to human purpose, to live at the edge, to live beyond your natural abilities. And around that brand purpose, something that you talked about, Around that brand purpose, they've built a community of interest, of people who want to push the limits, of people who want to participate. And it's made their brand so much bigger than it could ever be on their own, because the people who are doing like 360, stand on your head, let go of your bike, somehow find it again and don't kill yourself riding the Utah canyons, they're not Red Bull employees. But Red Bull is like, that's their community, and everyone recognises that now. And that recognition early on, I think, by Red Bull to say, actually what really matters here, the part that we have to play is this human value, this human purpose. We've seen how strongly that can play out. It builds layers around your organisation, like concentric circles around that purpose. People who believe in what you're trying to do and will help you, not for financial reward, but because it's change they want to see, whether that's environmental, whether it's social, whether it's just something that they love, a passion. To build the bridges for people to get behind you. And it's that thinking about being a media organisation. What's your purpose, and how do you build, engage and monetize a community around it? This is especially true of Gen Zers. They have grown up never knowing a world without the internet. Presumably they've grown up in a privileged Western society that isn't rural suburbia. They expect to be able to find interesting content on demand. They demand to be entertained. And moreover, they demand it wherever they go, whether it's on their watch, whether it's on their Alexa, whether it's on YouTube that's running on their TV, whether it's on their computer, doesn't matter. And they expect it now. The attention span of people waiting for a web page to come down has dropped really significantly. It used to be like 3 or 5 seconds. Now, basically, if it's over 2, then you're just throwing money away. The most successful brands in this space have this idea of, so when we think about a brand's environment as a system, then, and we look at natural systems, what we see is sort of runaway success, that hockey stick curve. They're all about positive feedback loops. That's what drives exponential growth. With Airbnb, it'd be like every person who lists a house generates 10 visitors, which generates 10 reviews, which mean that 5 other houses get listed. It's that whole positive feedback loop. So these are the two extremes within the engine that is business progress for you. It's data and it's experience. Without one, you don't get the other. Unless you've got people having a great experience so that they'll give you a bit of time, money, attention, data, you won't get that data, it won't flow into your business, and you can't do anything with it, you can't drive the experience. The better your digital experience, the better the data that you get, the better you can create that digital experience. And the fuel for that engine is content. That's what we use to communicate, whether it's verbal content, written content, video, images, even payloads between machines. That's what I mean by content. It's the medium of exchange between all the participants in your economy, in your system. So you'll often hear the term data strategy being bandied around. I love this quote. Like, talk about strategy all you want. Professionals talk about logistics. How do we get the data you've got into a useful place and make use of that? That's the really interesting stuff. That's the day-to-day bare knuckle fighting of digital. Like, how do we get this data in a place that's useful? So data is a thing. And this whole idea of predictive individual digital experiences. We were at the WP Engine event a few weeks back. Gen Z is something like 40% less likely to buy off an e-commerce site if it doesn't show that it recognises you in some way, that you're a new visitor, that you looked at this product, that you've bought this before. 40%. The future is 1 million websites, one for each visitor. Most of you are thinking okay, yeah, but I've got this, I'd like this campaign added to the website, and the template's really shonky, so how do I do that? But this is the future. How do we make every visitor to our digital platform feel special? And that's the role the WordPress plus Pragmatic can do. Give you digital superpowers. Sorry, it's a super cheesy slide, but it's kind of hard to visualize otherwise. Having the power of all your organization's data at your fingertips, being able to say, this customer who's just phoned up hasn't paid their bill, has paid their bill, has been with you 7 years, last got an email then. Imagine the improved quality of service you can give. We're all already cyborgs. How often do you pick up your phone every day? We all have those superpowers. Really effective organisations have learned how to use that so that we behave like a team of superheroes. Often get approached to do digital projects. Digital is a process. It's a practice. It's a thing that never dies. Unless something really bad happens to civilization, we're not going to before computer or before internet. Think of your business as a digital product and the process of achieving your goals as digital practice. Digital is, by its very nature, pragmatic. That is what a website is fundamentally a step above. Why a website is fundamentally a step above a printed magazine. Nobody knows if anyone's looked at your digital magazine, your printed magazine. The very act of me sending you a web page means I have data. I know that you from this IP address looked at this page at this time. And there's a whole ton of data that's baked into everything. Behind every tweet there's like more meta information than the characters that you actually see. All of digital is underpinned by data, and until you basically face reality, look at what the data is telling you and bake that as part of your business strategy or business decision-making process, you're going to get beaten by people like Amazon who are ruthless about data and insight. WordPress is something that we kind of, when I started freelancing, I just kind of started using it, and then it seemed really popular, and hey presto, we built a business around it. And I think it's just so gosh darn pragmatic, it's inescapable. I mean, it's free, you can install it in 5 minutes, it's interconnected with everything. Like how can you not get a return on value with something that's free and open source and you can install in 5 minutes? And I think that's why people call us pragmatic. I think we kind of get that quality from WordPress. All this stuff this is the MarTech landscape. This year, next year, it will just look like a blur. Every year this gets like more and more complex and insane. How do you leverage that stuff? I heard someone say that AWS are releasing like 8 products a month on average. Even at an architectural layer, there's that much new tech coming. How do you cope with that as an organization? How do you design an organization for that rate of change? If you've got a monolithic system, you're basically waiting for the SaaS provider to release the feature you want or enable the thing you want. If you really want agility, you have to be able to rip out the source files and rewrite it if you need to. You need to be able to do this stuff quickly. WordPress is just a juggernaut. You want an integration with one of those logos. If there's not an integration written for WordPress, there's pretty much guaranteed not going to be one written for anything else unless it's like super niche. So you want to try out a service, you want to run an experiment, it's cheaper and faster to do that with WordPress than almost any other digital platform. And that means return on investment. I'm not going to go sort of deep into the tech here, but Gutenberg is the new content editor for WordPress. So if you imagine that WordPress is rolling all of this, it's helping people get content from in their mind to online. Gutenberg is the central part of that whole experience. That is WordPress's USP. It's a new content editor that rethinks the way that content is. So whereas previously you thought about web pages is, I'll smash a paragraph here and put an image here and then a carousel there and write some more text and put a heading, Gutenberg takes the concept of content and breaks it down into individual blocks. So you can say, look, this is a tweet embed here, and I want this to show on these devices but not those ones. Or I want this piece of content here to be viewable to this segment but not that segment. So it takes content and it breaks it down to a more natural chunking. When web pages were when the WordPress editor was first built, it's pretty much all just like desktop viewing. Now people want content on their smartwatch or their Alexa. We have to get far more sophisticated about that content production, content management engine, and Gutenberg promises to do that. One of our favourite collaboration agencies, FX Digital, agreed to step in and help me make myself look like an idiot in front of you all by trying to do a live demo with this brand new tech.
With Alexa you can build skills, so you can basically enhance what it does. It can do a lot natively, but you build these skills to give people more functionality. So we've built a demo skill here to show you how it can integrate WordPress sites and also Gutenberg.
Can you integrate WordPress with an Alexa device?
Yes, of course. Using the WordPress REST API, you can make requests to a site and have me speak the responses.
I know that you're probably thinking, all right, it's easy to mock this stuff up. A real live demo would let me put any word at random in here, and then Alexa would read it out. That would prove, right? This isn't some Darren Brown stuff I haven't been stalking you all for months. Somebody give me a word that I would not possibly, so not WordPress, not pragmatic, not PaceComp, or anything cheesy like that. Give me like extraterrestrial or something like that.
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Ooh. Something nice and easy to spell. Thank you.
Right about
This is a simpler example, but that is the Gutenberg interface. You can see it's if you've used WordPress content editor, there's like buttons and stuff, which is like, you've used Gutenberg. So hopefully that's saved. We can view the question on the website.
Hello, how can I help you today?
Alexa, how easy is it to update the content Alexa is using?
Very simple. The content you are hearing right now can be edited from within WordPress. Our test word to prove this is Mississippi.
That's pretty cool, right? It's the power of it, right? You can edit a WordPress article on your phone. Maybe some of you are doing it here now. You're clicking update, and it's not just going to your website, it's going to your Twitter, a chunk of it's going to Alexa. You know, there's intense power. If anyone was videoing me, they could be sending that video stream directly to Microsoft's cognitive services. It could be producing a transcript in real time, and by the time I sit down, it's generated and published a post that's semantically correct, richly marked up, spell checked, and pushed out through all the channels. You know, and it's that kind of superpower, reaching millions with a click of an update button. That's what we see really successful organisations doing. That's the message I want to give you. Like, whether you're looking at information warfare or successful brands, they're harnessing content to fuel that energy of getting the right message to the right people, the right time, in the right place, harnessing the data from that so they can do it even better next time. What you're selling, whether it's sugary drinks or Echo connected devices on Amazon's Black Friday, it's all part of this picture. All the technologies you hear about in the news, blockchain, mixed reality, they all fall within this cycle. And that's why content, Gutenberg, WordPress, pragmatic, sit there, right in the middle, help you fuel your car. So the future's now, folks.